Awesome. All right, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is Kareem Canston, the encourager, here to motivate you and inspire you from Canston Development. And we are here today talking about the PPP loan forgiveness and also payroll solutions with my guests, Shomari Husband and Alberto Palmieri. And so listen, I don't know about you, but here's an opportunity for you to get some good information about the PPP loan, right? How do you get it forgiven? But also, how do you set up a good payroll process so actually you could get the maximum benefit of it? And so listen, the Senate just passed a new bill that actually kind of changed some of the inner workings of it. You know, we'll be talking about that, sharing about it. But listen, I want to welcome my guests, Shomari and Alberto. Listen, if you could introduce yourself, Shomari, and then after that, Alberto, if you can introduce yourself also.
Thank you, Kareem. So my name is Shomari Husband. I'm a certified public accountant right here in Providence. I focus on providing CFO services to small businesses. I recently launched an online learning platform called the Accounting Institute, where I'm providing operational accounting education to small business owners and college students and people who haven't traditionally had access to this type of learning. The PPP loan has been very interesting. I've never seen anything like this in my career. So just to kind of share a little information about the PPP loan. It was, and I'm going to share my screen.
All right, cool. Yeah, share it. Before you do that, can you have Alberto from Paycheck actually introduce himself? That would be cool.
Absolutely. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Alberto Palmieri, as Kareem mentioned. I'm with Paycheck. I've been with Paycheck since 2005. I'm from the area, from South Providence. Originally went to Roger Williams Middle School, went to Classical High School, and a graduate of Bryant University with a degree in concentration in accounting. And been with Paycheck since 2005. First job out of school, first professional job, if you will. Was in operations for about 9 years. Payroll specialist, supervisor, manager. Once the family started growing, wanted to switch over to sales back in 2014 to have more flexibility of my schedule and time while balancing a new family. And again, been in sales since 2014, small business consultant, currently concentrating in the areas of South Providence, East Providence, Rumford, Riverside, Barrington, and also Central Falls. I am a multicultural rep for Paychecks. I'm of Puerto Rican descent, so I'm bilingual, speak Spanish, so I service the Hispanic community, work with accountants, tax preparers who are Hispanic, and also with clients who prefer a Spanish-speaking rep. I partner with other territory reps who need the Hispanic support. So that's a little bit of my background.
Awesome. Thank you all. And Shomari, man, jump right into your presentation.
Okay, so just to kind of share some details about the Payroll Protection Program loan. It was created as part of the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, Economic Security Act, or the CARE Act, to address the dramatic decrease in economic activity that they knew was going to be seen across emergency measure to make sure that the small businesses, the restaurants, any business that relied upon foot traffic wouldn't just go under immediately when their customers were asked to stay home. And the cool part about it is that they made it forgivable. So Alberto's going to go through some of the inner workings of the PPP loan, but they made it forgivable. So as long as you use 75% of it on payroll costs, and the other 25% can be spent on interest, rent, or utilities, they'll forgive the whole amount. Now, there's some other details that Alberto's going to get into, but I think I've seen it as a lifeline to many small businesses at a point where their traffic completely dried up. When you tell people to stay home, the small businesses have inventory. They can't sell that spoils if you're selling food, or they still have rent payments. They still have utility payments and interest payments to make. And most of all, they still have people to pay. So this was a measure to try to keep people from going on unemployment and kind of keep people working. I think it's been very interesting how it's worked because and how it was rolled out. Many of the employers have found that their people were um, less inclined to come back because
Mm.
of the added $600 being paid for unemployment. So it's been a needed boost in terms of capital for small businesses, but it's been very tricky for small businesses to navigate. Many have had to decide on whether to ask employees who are making more money than they made working for them off unemployment. Many have kind of struggled, many small businesses have struggled with asking these employees to come back so that they could spend this money. So I think that right now, as you mentioned, Kareem, there's some discussion and some activity in the federal government to kind of relax some of the guidelines for this to make it a little easier to spend. And I think the most interesting thing has been how the details they provided on forgiveness recently,
Yes.
and the new forgiveness calculator. So Alberto, you guys, Paychecks, you guys have a forgiveness calculator.
Definitely.
So can you kind of share some information about that? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll go into the PPP forgiveness and some of the tools and resources we have. My goal for today is to really provide a high level overview of a lot of the information out there. I've been sharing it a lot with my accountant, Shomari. I've probably been flooding his inbox with information. There's just so much information on this. And unfortunately, it was such a kind of a quick thing that the government did the best they could to hit businesses that were hurting and support them. Unfortunately, when you kind of rush things, especially with governments and you have two opposing sides, a lot of the details get muddied, and a lot of the things didn't maybe come out as clean as they'd like. And as so, they're still working through some things. So I'll talk about that as well. But again, just want to provide a high level overview, give access to the resources. I'll make sure to share them with Shomari and Kareem afterwards, so they can disseminate them to everybody who's watching this. Just so you have access to the information. We put a bunch of free information out there. We want to make sure you guys have access to it. So again, I don't want to put anybody to sleep and read a whole bunch of slides to you and a bunch of information. It is kind of early too, so you might still be a little groggy. So we'll make sure we
good information, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm gonna share here a couple things we got for everybody. Let me just pull this up. Okay. So this first page that you guys can see there, just a quick thumbs up. You guys see my page there? Perfect. Beautiful. So this is our main page. And one of the beauties of Paychecks is we're on top of things, man. We have access to the information. We have a backdoor to the IRS, to the Treasury, to the small business, SBA. And so we get that information first. And so as soon as we get it and it's factual, we disseminate it and make sure our accountants, our clients, our prospective clients have access to it as well. So just yesterday, the Senate actually passed or approved an update to the forgiveness piece of it. And as soon as you go on our front page here, right at the top, June 4th, Senate passes. We're just waiting for President Trump to see if he puts his signature to it, which we'd be surprised if he didn't. But so some of the information on this website is dated because we're probably going to get an update in a day or so with what it entails. So again, this is our landing page of all things COVID-19, coronavirus, all of our resources. Again, not going to go into the weeds with everyone, but this is our landing page. And then from that, we're going to deep dive into some of the tools we have available. So Shomari mentioned the calculator. We have the PPP loan forgiveness estimator / calculator. Extremely important. Everybody got this. There was a little misconception in the marketplace of I'm getting free money from the government. There's no free money from the government. There's nothing free in this world that I'm aware of. Everything, especially from the government, has strings and there's some caveats. And those caveats are pretty simply, the government gave you this money. Ideally, they want you to bring back your employees. They don't want a bunch of people on unemployment, sucking those resources dry. they also want people to have income. And so that kind of jumpstarts the economy. So that's the primary thing, that you're bringing back your employees and you're paying the wages you were before once you got the money.
Cool. And I think
That,
it's interesting, Berto, the changes, might also help people that only had 8 weeks, and, we're trying to figure out how do you, use 75% of what you got for payroll. So I think the
right.
new rules might be a little bit looser once it gets signed into.
Yeah, great point, Kareem. So initially, the caveats, if you will, were once you got the money, you have 8 weeks from either the day you got the money or your first payroll to begin what's called the forgiveness period. And at the end of 8 weeks, you would go back to your financial institution and see how much of that money is forgiven, and then how much of it converts to a loan with a 1% interest rate over 2 years. And so obviously everybody wants to get it forgiven. And so with that, they wanted you to use 75% toward payroll, and then 25%, as Shomari mentioned, to mortgage payments and things like that, utilities, some of your overhead like that. So this tool, again, right on our webpage, you can come in and you could, again, I'm just going to key in some numbers. So loan amount, say you got $14,000. Payroll costs, if you popped in, your payroll costs are $6,000. And the beauty of our wizard is, if you don't understand something, we got the little information thing, you hover over it and it tells you what it is.
Cool.
Because a lot of this is pretty convoluted, man. It's very confusing. I had a lot of accountants asking a bunch of questions. What is the definition of this? What's that? A lot of moving parts. So we have the information for you, kind of in here for you. One of the things there is the decrease in wages. They don't want you to bring back, if you had $4,000 in payroll wages, they don't want you to bring back $2,500. They want you to bring back the full $4,000. And if your payroll costs, your wages go down, then some of that money that you received is not going to be forgiven. And so again, just putting in some numbers. FTEs is full-time equivalent. So again, did your full-time employees go down? Did your count go down? And if so, the government, they don't want that. And so this money that you took is now a loan. But as you see down at the bottom, it keeps a running total and if you start putting numbers in, it shows you amount of loan that may be forgiven, and then amount in loan that may be paid back. And again, this is driving off in this example. I put $14,000 up here, put some other numbers for payroll costs, etc. And then it'll have there for you. And again, this is an estimator, but it's got all the functionality built into what the SBA is using as their formulas for what would be forgiven. So I would put stock in this being accurate.
So the amount that's not forgiven turns into a 2-year loan with a 1% interest rate.
Correct. Yep. And I've got, let's see.
Yeah, but just to let you all know that I've put in the comment section Shomari's contact information and Alberto's contact information, and also a link to an article in reference to what are the new things that have been voted on but haven't signed into law about the changes.
Perfect. Yeah, and so I'll just touch on that really briefly. The changes that they're looking at taking that 8-week period and changing it to a 24-week period, which makes sense, right? Because businesses applied for this ASAP back in March, April. People started receiving funding, and most, at least here in the Northeast, a lot of industries were closed, and so it didn't line up with when I could open up my business and start seeing revenue that I've got to now start bringing people back or paying the loan back. So kind of strange. So that piece of it, and then also the 75 and 25% split. They're looking at changing it to a 60% for payroll, 40% for your other costs. So again, just the government listening to what small business needs and making adjustments as they need. But just wanted to highlight here, any loan amounts not forgiven at the end of the 1 year are carried over forward as an ongoing loan with terms of a max of 2 years at a max of 1% interest. So that's favorable too. That's not like a bank loan where they're crushing you on the interest. But again, the goal is to get it forgiven. So those are some of the tools there. We do have some other tools that I had here that real quickly I'll just click on to highlight for you guys. Right, we're here in the Northeast. I'm in Rhode Island. I have clients in Massachusetts. I'm in Connecticut. We have a tool here, COVID-19 resources by state. So you're able to go in and see in your state what the governor's passed. What are some of the sorry about that. I think I had Rhode Island up earlier.
No problem.
There you go. And it shows you stay-at-home order in your state. It shows you directly the doc that the governor signed, and then the reopening plans. People have a lot of questions about that, and obviously there's a plan by the government for every state individually. This talks about that. So definitely important to know there, as well as additional state resources. So that's very important as businesses want to open up. You don't want to get in trouble for opening up too soon before the government wanted you to, and then now you're getting fined when, again, you weren't making any money for the past month and a half. So really, really challenging.
That's right. So,
And
Alberto,
also-
let me ask you a question. So you have a lot of great resources, and I would tell people, listen, if you're not working with the payroll provider, you probably should. So why people should work with you, Alberto?
Loaded question. Well, one, the company I represent is phenomenal in this space. Paycheck's been in business over 40 plus years. We're across the country. We have access to these resources. And so we're on the cutting edge. And so you could have proof that the information is pertinent and it's accurate, if you will. There's a lot of misinformation out there. Our information on our website has been resourced. You know, it's factual, it's in there. So we've got the back office, again, to the Treasury, to the SBA. Paychecks in particular, we've got phenomenal technology. It's 2020. As an employee, we had to adapt to a work from home at the drop of a hat. Our clients didn't experience any hiccup in their service. All of our employees have been working from home for about 2 months, and clients really didn't experience anything. Some of our local providers are not able to really make that flip that quickly, and businesses were impacted. So we're able to do that. And again, we have the solutions for you. I don't really want to deep dive into our solutions, but my company is able to work with a 1-employee company or 1,000-employee company, and that 1-employee company may grow to that 1,000-employee company, and we're able to work with them through that employee life cycle, benefits, retirement, workers' compensation, a bunch of insurances. And so we're able to support that customer as their business grows. We're able to work with them. And then lastly, our service model is phenomenal. A lot of our competitors can't touch our service model. We have a dedicated point of contact for our clients. So that means they have a payroll specialist assigned to their account, which may not seem like a huge deal, except when you have issues on your account, which people have them. It's a lot easier talking to that one person as opposed to a call center. But then we also have 24/7 support. We have a lot of clients who are in the restaurant industry, hospitality industry. They need after-hour support. They can call us 24/7 and get somebody live on the line, and also all U.S. based, which is huge. Some of our competitors who have some of those after-hours resources, you're calling somebody outside the U.S. So no, we employ U.S. employees, and you're getting customer service here locally.
Awesome. Thank you, Alberto. So listen, Shomari, I have a question for you, right? There's people that probably been doing this stuff, as 1099s, or they might not be working with a payroll service company. Why should they work with a payroll company? And also, why should they engage an accountant to help them to make sure they get the best loan forgiveness for the PPP?
Well, that's a perfect plug for the payroll class that Alberto and myself will be providing in the beginning of July through the Accounting Institute. If you're not working with an accountant and you're not working with a payroll specialist, you're probably spending too much time working on this. The accounting that's involved with payroll and the need to get everything accurate in both your reporting, your internal reporting, and your reporting to the authorities, to the tax authorities, to the Department of Unemployment, makes payroll probably one of the most important accounting events for small business. So what I found is that there's very little guidance out there on how to, for example, enter an accurate payroll journal entry. So I find it's something that a lot of small businesses struggle with, especially if you don't have someone working with you who has an accounting background. And it's something that a lot of small businesses get wrong. And when they get to the end of the year and it's time to send out W-2s, they often find themselves having to duplicate the work. So to answer your question, it's very important to get some good accounting help when it comes to payroll. to make sure that your business is running as efficiently and effectively as possible, um, and not spending excess man hours on calculating payroll, and tracking different remittances to different authorities. So during our class, we will be discussing the payroll journal entry. We'll be demonstrating how to accurately enter a payroll journal entry, how to make it balance, which accounts you should be using, and we'll go through a few different scenarios. We'll also be discussing the Paycheck's general ledger um, program that that allows you to sync up your payroll activity with Paychecks to your general ledger. So in many cases, you just set up the mapping and you don't have to enter payroll after that. You still have to check it because sometimes, everyone makes mistakes, but it's a time saver. In many cases, I've seen the payroll with, with the with the help of myself creating a good payroll process and some accurate accounting and the good payroll service. I've seen the amount of time drop to a third of what people were spending trying to do it themselves, along with their costs also dropping to a third. So for all the people watching, you can get more details about our July 1st class if you go to theaccountinginstitute.org or get in touch with me if you know me.
All right, cool, awesome. Yeah, and I did put you all's contact information in the comment section on a post, and I'll make sure that I'll send it out to the people that registered, right? The information and the links that you all shown in your contact information. And so listen, if you want to get more of the information, you can see it in the comment section. Also, reach out to me or reach out to them, because I also tagged them in the social media posts. And, these people are trying to help you as a business, right? To actually get the entire loan to be forgiven, right? And so, you should use qualified and trusted resources. That's the reason why we're interviewing Shomari and Alberto today. Any last words that you all want to share with the people today?
Well, thanks for having me, Kareem.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed working with the people in our community, and I'm looking forward to doing more in this changing time where everything's virtual now.
Yeah, I would add, it's funny doing all these Zoom meetings. I really miss my barber as I'm looking at myself right in the screen. I'm like, man, I can't wait till I can go back and see him. What I would just add is, as we're talking about forgiveness, one of the critical tools of working with a company like Paychex is we're going to give you a forgiveness report to really have the critical information that these lenders are looking for to get as much forgiven. One, it's going to save you time, and more importantly, it's going to be accurate, because it's driven from the payroll data that we process for you every week or every 2 weeks to our payroll system. And so what we find is when people are doing it on their own, it's definitely time consuming. I mean, just reading over the information that the government's looking for, it's very, a lot of details, and the devil's in the details. So you want to make sure you get it accurate, especially after you got the money already, because you got the money, it's in your bank. Now it's how much of it am I not going to have to pay back? So that's critical that you get it accurate. And you provide them what they're looking for. And again, we're in the cutting edge. We know exactly what they're looking for, and we'd be able to very easily on our Paychex Flex application produce that report for our clients. So again, I would say in closing, whether it's not myself, I would suggest taking a look at a payroll provider to really help you have things organized, neat, and clean. And it makes Shomari's job a lot easier too as well when it comes to tax time, to just have clean reports, clean things, accurate. And it just makes everybody's life easier and lets you focus on more revenue producing items as opposed to you doing payroll. Make money, run your business. Let us do this thing that takes time out of you bringing in money to your business. So that's what I would say in closing. Thanks for having us, both of you guys. I really appreciate you guys inviting me in and bringing whatever I can to the table.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming.
Listen, I want to thank Shomari and thanks Alberto. I want to thank everyone that has watched this live post, but also listen, I know people are going to be watching the replay. So make sure you get in contact with these gentlemen that are here to help you as a business owner in your community to actually survive and also get the most benefit for your business. And so I want to thank you very much on behalf of Cancer Development, and thank you all for watching.